Earp and his wife Josie were stranded at Rampart over a winter when their steamboat froze up on the river. Tex Rickard ran a saloon along the Minnook Trail before becoming America's leading boxing promoter and building Madison Square Garden. Iditarod winners Susan Butcher and Rick Swenson live and train in the area around Eureka. Lost Creek Ranch is the only occupied homestead remaining in that valley. The log cabin is squat, solid, and massive, built to endure far into a new millennium. It melds naturally into the terrain, at peace with the timber and mountains and tundra, a symbol of the indomitable human spirit and the pioneer creed. Although still rough and primitive, it now includes comforts only recently acquired, and which are taken for granted by most Americans. Electricity, for example, is supplied by an oil-fueled generator. The indoor plumbing uses water pumped directly from Lost Creek, another true luxury. Les climbed a 7,000-foot peak, Norkeys Mountain, to erect an antenna for relaying telephone signals, providing telephone access to the outside world for the first time. Norma, now in her 50s, is a dark-haired, attractive woman, only slightly over 5 feet in height. Spirit-wise, character-wise, she is every inch the stature of her burly 6'2" husband. She was the last woman in America to sign up under the U.S. Homestead Act of 1862 to become a homesteader. Mrs. Cobb is a true pioneer. Les Cobb is a rough-talking, easy-laughing man, more at home on a game trail than on a city street. Together, 26 years ago, dragging along with them their 5 small children, they set out from the lower United States in quest of an American dream that had all but died after the opening of the American West. The opportunity to have free land if they would but settle on it and build a home. I have sat many evenings with the Cobbs around the warm cradle of the wood stove in their cabin and listened to tales of when this valley was really virgin and they first hiked into it from Trail's End. That was when it was occupied solely by moose, black bear, grizzly, wolverines, and, along the Yukon, a few Indians and Eskimos who spoke in hushed tones of a bushman. A huge, hairy, man-like creature who stole children. Their odyssey began in the autumn of 1972. Newly married, with 5 small children between them from previous relationships, they were barely eking out an existence in the lower 48. They realized the only way they could ever afford to own a farm of their own was to take the trail of pilgrims and pioneers before them and set out to find America's last frontier. Most of the only remaining land available for homesteading lay north of Fairbanks in Alaska near the Arctic Circle. It was a raw and lawless country, a transplanted piece of the Old West where grizzlies outnumbered settlers 20-1, where outlaws and thieves robbed new settlers, attempted to burn them out or jump their claims, and where the only law was the one a man wore on his hip or pegged above his cabin door. The Cobbs were Chichacos, tenderfeet, in a land that consumed even toughened settlers. Outlaws stole their supplies. 7-year-old Sean was accidentally gunshot. Winter's snow collapsed the roof of their first cabin. They built too near the creek, and spring thaw threatened to flood them out. Bears prowled the woods and stalked the children, clacking their teeth as agitated and aggressive bears will. Packs of hungry timber wolves lurked outside the firelight. The legendary bushman of native lore waited in the forest shadows, watching. Starvation and loneliness were constant companions. Everything about the new land seemed to be in conspiracy to defeat them. Subjected to severe deprivations and dangers, young and pretty Norma Cobb, small-town girl from Wichita, Kansas, learned to build cabins, skin beavers, tan bear pelts, make a campfire, mush sled dogs, shoot a rifle, fight both men and wild animals, suture wounds, treat illnesses, cook a moose or a bear or a grouse, homeschool her brood, fight forest fires, and cope with the isolation of the long, dark Arctic winters. Through the Cobb's tales and Norma's journal, which she so graciously provided, emerged what I recognized as one of the truly great adventure odysseys of modern times. The story of Norma Cobb, the last woman to homestead the Alaskan wilderness. I am privileged to help bring Norma's wonderful story to life. Charles W. Sasser. Part 1.